rice cookers. Today we're doing axles. Okay, now that we got the lower arms in, it's time to move on to axles. These sets here are the automatic ones. These ones are the manual ones from the K series. Non-ABS, ABS. This ring will not go on here, so I'm gonna have to swap the outer to this axle. But before I do that, let's just get the intermediate shaft on the K series, fit the K series axles without the ABS rings, and look at axle lengths and whether or not we're gonna be able to use these, or we might even be able to use the automatic ones, depending on lengths. So yeah, let's get this under the car and see what we're working with. Here we are on the right side of the car, and I've got the left-hand side automatic axle from the RD1. Because of the transmission placement on a K compared to a B, you can actually flip the axles. If your CRV is automatic, you might not be able to use both axles, but if it's manual, apparently you can just basically use both axles. But I think I can only get away with using the left-hand side axle on the right-hand side of the car. And because I need ABS, let's just try this B series on the right-hand side from the left-hand side. See how we go. With this axle pulled all the way forward, the rollers are like right there. You can start to see it. And it's obviously it's pulling the boot way out. So this axle is not going to work on this side. Too short. And the RD5 one is actually pretty similar length. So I might be f***ed. Hooray. Okay, I got the K series axle in here. I've taken that automatic B series one out, the one with the ABS ring, because this axle is slightly longer. It's not hugely noticeable side by side, but there is a difference. For information on axle lengths, you want to reference the video I have, which is of course Brian at VTech Academy. Just search VTech Academy axles. And I'm going to run through basically what they've run through in that video to illustrate whether or not this axle will work. So first thing we need to do, compress the suspension using a floor jack underneath the arm so that we're up to level, or where it would be kind of at normal loaded position. So axle relatively level with the ground. So that should be about there. Okay, now that we've got this compressed and the axle level, I want to force this pretty much as far in as you can so that it's bottoming out. With this pushed all the way in, we're at about, right around 1/4 of an inch. And in millimeters, we're right around 7-ish. And if you follow Brian's guide at VTech Academy, you're looking at a plus or minus range of 0.25 inches or 6.35 millimeters. So in maximum 6 millimeters, or poking out a maximum of 6 millimeters or 1/4 of an inch. So this axle is going to work. So the next question is, can we swap over the B series outer to work with this side? And also, will the K series shaft for the left-hand side work. So, I think first thing will probably be smart to get both K-series axles in here and measure it up just to make sure that there is an option that will work, and then we'll look at whether we can keep ABS and all that crap. So let's go to the other side and fit the passenger side axle, or the left-hand side axle for me. So with that all the way in, and at 10, I mean, my ideal range is 6 millimeters, and that's about 9. So this one's sticking out by about 9. The other one's recessed in by about 7. Then I probably need to swap these axles left to right, and by swapping them I mean just the inner joints need to be swapped left to right. Might be still a way to get the B-series axles to just work. Do some measurements. Just got all the axles out of the car. This is the gearbox side we just tested, and it is too long. It's not crazy too long, but it's just a little long. This is the half shaft side, and it's just a little bit too short. The logical thing to do at this point would be to swap the inner CV couplings over, left side to right side, and that would account for the differences. But now I'm starting to wonder if I do the same thing with the B-series axles, we might be able to keep using them. Oh. Well, that one's fantastic. So now we got the B-series. Automatic. This isn't going to be the same if you're using, in your CRV, manual axles. So this was the side that went into the half shaft, or the right hand side of the car, and was way down in the hub. It needed to be quite a bit longer. This is the automatic side, the gearbox side, and as you can see it's quite a bit longer. Now if we compare this side, oh, I can't compare it now because the rollers fell out. Okay, never mind. Basically, I'm going to try and swap these ones over before I swap these ones over on that side. Well, actually that side would have to get full swapped. Inners in, inners swapped axle to axle, outers from these swapped onto those. So, whew. Let's get these boots off and swap these over left to right. Like so. It's a B-series left-hand side axle from the RD1. That originally came out of the coupling for the half shaft on the automatic B-series. So I've swapped the inner coupling on the bench. So that is now for a gearbox side, and I've slapped it in the left-hand side. So it's a little confusing, but after doing the measurement, just like on old Hassport's tutorial, I'm at 6 millimeters. So you can see that, which is exactly where I want to be. So there we go, with that kind of mutt of an axle mismatched bits and pieces. We've got the left-hand side in. I'm happy with the length of it. Actually, let me test something really quick. Probably should pull this axle all the way out. I mean, yeah, okay, we're good. So the way they measure it at VTech Academy is pretty much perfect way to do it. It's probably the OEM way to do it. Anyway, left side's in. It's got an ABS ring, so we're good to go. Now, the other side, the right-hand side. Okay, and on this side, aside from the fact that the coupling's actually starting to pull out, if I push this all the way in, it's almost completely gone. It's almost pulling out the back. So this side is still way too short. And it is the B series with the ABS rings. So now I just need to figure out a good length for this side. It'll probably be the K series axle with the B series outer. Okay, just pulled this one back out of the hub there. This was the one that was too short. Fortunately, this one's fallen out. Otherwise I could have compared the lengths. But this is the current axle that's working. That's a K series one. Its length is longer, but it's longer by about 10 mil, 7 mil. So it's really pushing it quite close to the edge. I could just swap this outer with the ABS over to here and run it, and it will be, I think it'll be okay. I'd be comfortable with it. But this one here was the K series I pulled out of the gearbox when I just did the test fit, and it was almost a little bit too long. So I think to have the perfect axle length, especially with the lifting the CRV, I think my best course of action is to make something out of all three. Looks like this is the axle I want to use. So this one here, I want to use this axle with the intermediate shaft coupler, like that. Jesus Christ, it's fucking filthy. That, and then use this B series outer. K-series coupling from the intermediate shaft or the half shaft, the actual axle from the left-hand side of the car, and the B-series ABS ring. All of this should go in there and be the right length, and if it's not, I give up. Finally, we got a winner. Both axles, right length. Wow, I think they are. We'll see when I drive it. Fully extended. There's no bearings touching the boot. And pushed all the way in, we're looking for this to stick out a maximum of 6.3 millimeters, or go inwards a maximum of 6.3 millimeters, which is a 1/4 of an inch. Or what is it? Is it a fraction? 0.2 something? So with that all the way in, we are at, roughly, I'd say that's probably 4 millimeters. So with that sorted, that means we have this side complete and the other side complete. So now I can take it all apart again and get some proper CV boot clamps and probably some more CV grease. I've got some, but probably not enough. And I'm gonna have to take these boots off each axle and pack the CVs so that everything's nice and new and ready to go. Let's get these axles back out again and get them ready for their home. Managed to get a hold of CV clamp tool, some CV clamps and some CV grease. Big shout out to Glenn and Cherie. So now I need to get stuck into cleaning these up, adding more grease, and then clamping them. This is the only end that I didn't really touch or remove, so I've repacked these 3 axles and fitted them with new clamps for the CV boots, and they're ready to go in. Got a little bit of high temperature grease on some of the contact points, so let's finally get these in for the last time, hopefully. 36 mil, I'll go set to 2. K-swap axles are in the CRV. We managed to keep ABS. The lengths are good. If you want to follow along with figuring out how to do those lengths, like I said earlier, go to VTech Academy. They have a wealth of information on, well, lots of stuff, and it's short, direct to the point, no bullshit videos, which is really, really good, really refreshing. And if you want to support me, the best way to do that right now is just to subscribe. We're inching towards that goalpost of monetization. We need 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours. So yeah, I really appreciate it if you could just subscribe. Liking and commenting and sharing also helps, but yeah. Cheers, we'll see you in the next one.